What's good, Internet? My name is attackslug, and welcome to my Elimination Chamber 2020 predictions video happening this Sunday. I'm recording this right after SmackDown. So if any matches get announced on Saturday or Sunday, I don't know. Haven't seen them. But we have 7 matches on the card as of right now. And just announced on SmackDown, seemingly, we have Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. And the story here is that Gulak knows all of Daniel's weaknesses and wants to have somebody fight him and beat him, but Bryan has now challenged Gulak directly, and they're going to fight at the Chamber. Hopefully not on the kickoff show, but hey, we'll see. They just announced it tonight, or teased it, or whatever, but come on. This only really ends at WrestleMania, so certainly Daniel Bryan fighting Drew Gulak is going to end with Daniel Bryan winning this match. And it builds towards, I would imagine, a WrestleMania moment where Gulak finds somebody for Bryan to fight, or I don't know. It seems like Bryan's in a holding pattern at the moment because they kind of don't know what his WrestleMania plans are going to be. Now, I can see him definitely having to say, hey, we're going to get Sheamus hired by Gulak to fight Bryan because Sheamus is on a quest to fight all of the little guys on SmackDown, so that wouldn't surprise me. But it seems like kind of a holding pattern for Bryan at the moment. So this show, though, Bryan wins all the way. Moving on, we have Andrade, your current U.S. champion, versus Humberto for that U.S. title. And I still don't see Andrade losing that belt just yet. They've had some amazing matches between those two. I could see Angel Garza interfering here. Obviously, Zelina Vega at ringside. I just think the deck is stacked in that towards Andrade winning, even if Mysterio might help out here in some way, shape, or form. Andrade retains at the end of the night. Now, the other mid-card title we have on the line is going to be the Monster Among Men, Braun, in a 1-on-3 handicap match for the IC title, and that is the artist, the rock star, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro, the Swiss cyborg, and the Great Liberator, Sami Zayn. Now, logic in Braun Strowman matches kind of does not apply usually. I think in any other scenario, you would say, man, Braun just runs through him. He's Braun. Now, this is a regular match. I would assume tags happening, right? And not just 3 in the ring versus 1 in the ring happening, I would guess. But I don't know. We'll see when we get to Sunday what happens there. But I would hope the more interesting story here is that somebody on the Sami side wins this match and causes some dissension among the ranks. I think just a straight, regular Braun Strowman victory is a little bit too predictable here. And I would hope that is not the avenue they go down. Like, yeah, sure, it's 3-on-1, and the heels are all cowardly heels, and that kind of thing. And yeah, you got Cesaro in there, who's never kind of been a top guy, but it's a mid-card belt, right? And unless you're moving Braun up somewhere, like, have them continue this feud, but I think it's more interesting if, say, Sami gets the pinfall, right? Because then you can argue, right, well, Sami pinned him, but it was 3-on-1 for a title. So, do 3 guys hold 1 belt? Is it a freebird rule on that belt, or is there dissension among the ranks in that crew is potentially a more interesting thing? So yes, I say Sami gets the pin, or even Cesaro gets the pin here on Braun with this match, because that's way more interesting to me going into WrestleMania. But what do I know? Just go, oh yeah, Braun just squishes them and whatever. Who cares, right? Okay, moving on from that. Your Raw Tag Team titles. That is the Street Profits, who just won those belts this week on Raw in a now or never matchup, taking on Rollins and Murphy. And even though there is no longer a rematch clause, they're doing a rematch at the Chamber. But if you're heading toward WrestleMania, and I feel like what you're heading towards is going to be a Rollins and Kevin Owens scenario, then you don't need to have those belts on Rollins in the tag team reign if he's building towards a singles match. That's kind of not the focus. So I think the Profits retain those titles. Somehow, someway, they want the smoke, they get the smoke. Because having them have their first ever Raw titles and then lose them like 6 days later seems kind of just, why even at that point win them if they're just going to lose them again at the pay-per-view? That seems silly to me. But again, what do I know? So yes, Profits retaining their titles. Now, we have a special attraction match here, and it is the phenomenal AJ Styles going one-on-one with Aleister Black, who wants a fight, and he's got a fight. And it is a no disqualifications match. Now, we know that Taker and AJ heading into WrestleMania. So you would imagine that Taker is going to make an appearance in this no DQ match, only because we know AJ has the OC backing him up, Gallows and Anderson, and it's no DQ, so they can interfere as much as they want. And I feel like they don't want AJ to lose at this point, and they don't want Aleister to lose at this point. So how do you give it a nice schmoz finish? Here comes the dead man. And I could see a world where they perhaps don't want Taker having a one-on-one at Mania, so why not Taker and Aleister Black fighting against the OC at Mania? Even add in a third guy, make it a six-man. I don't care. Whatever. But that's just my thoughts in keeping Taker's time in the ring limited as he continues to get older and older and slower. Just my opinion. So yeah, I don't see a finish here. I don't see a pinfall here. I don't see anything. It's just interference, and it ends up being a big cluster. And obviously, Taker stands tall at the end, and perhaps so does Aleister Black. But again, either way, whatever. So, moving on to the Elimination Chamber matches proper, we have two. And honestly, I don't know what match really main events the card here. Because Roman Reigns, not on the show. McIntyre, not on the show. Brock, not on the show. Goldberg, not on the show. Or at least, as of right now, as of 10/12 on Friday night, not announced for the show. So, what main events? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think is the last match on this card. So, the tag team titles on SmackDown are in the chamber. And that is your champions, Miz and Morrison, versus The New Day, versus The Usos, versus Heavy Machinery, versus Lucha House Party, versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, who as of SmackDown are now the last ones out of their pods in this match. And that was a great effort from Heavy Machinery on SmackDown to go through a whole gauntlet and almost get the job done, but not quite get there. Wow, Asuka out first. That's shocking. So, I feel like the whole story here is going to end up with Otis and Tucker fighting Ziggler and Roode for those tag team titles at WrestleMania, and then having Heavy Machinery get the victory, and Otis gets the kiss from Mandy, and that is the feel-good ending of that story. This months-long, story ends at Mania. So how do you get there? You get there through here by having Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode win those tag team titles. They already have the advantage as the last entrants in the match, so have them win, and then eventually the new challengers in the next couple of weeks end up being Heavy Machinery, and then finally we get that Otis and Ziggler bit in that match, and Mandy at ringside, that kind of thing. So, my prediction, we have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. There goes Natalya at this show, and it is Ziggler and Roode. Now, I don't know what that means for Miz and Morrison at Mania, and that's kind of whatever at this point. So, there is that. The other side of that, the other match, this match right here, is for the #1 contender to fight Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. And that is Natalya, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan in the chamber. And I know that most folks are saying automatically it's Baszler. Like, Becky's already feuding with Baszler. She bit her neck. Blood. Fake blood, but blood on Raw. It's crazy. And the word that Vince is perhaps losing a little bit of faith in Shayna at this juncture is a little bit concerning for this match perhaps being the main event and her winning this match and going over, etc., etc., the submission magician, and that whole thing. But if you don't bet on Shayna in this match, then what can you bet on? Well, what you can bet on is the fact that somebody was at WWE headquarters this week taking a meeting, and that somebody was a rowdy Ronda Rousey. So, we've seen before where chamber spots have been stolen on the day of the show, during the show, and somebody who wasn't announced in the chamber ends up in the chamber. Could that be Ronda Rousey? Is Vince like, no, panic, 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 give us Becky and Ronda, because that match at Mania is big money. And yeah, it is, because we haven't had that one-on-one match. It didn't happen. We had a triple threat because of Charlotte last year. So, would it happen? Could it happen? I don't know. I would say if we don't see Ronda Rousey on this show at all, why would you ever bet against Shayna? If we do see Ronda, Ronda's taking it. Like, just easy peasy, as Oscar would say. She's taking it. Because the big money match at WrestleMania is going to be Becky and Ronda. Now, is Ronda ready to come back just yet? Who knows? But she was at the headquarters this week taking a meeting. So was Cain Velasquez. I don't know. Things could happen. Negotiations, money, etc., etc. But yeah. Otherwise, I'll say Shayna, because why would you ever bet against her in this match when she's already feuding with the champ? I don't know, man. Anyhow, that is my predictions for Elimination Chamber on Sunday. Perhaps they'll also announce Elias and King Corbin. I don't know, maybe not. We'll see. But as of right now, these are the 7 matches on this card that I'm talking about, and that's kind of it for this video. So, thanks for watching. Let me know who you think's gonna win down in the comments below. I'm attackslug. See you next time, right here on the channel. More videos just about every day. See you then, and I'm out. And even this broken game agrees with me. Shayna wins.